I've designed, actually not designed, but came up with, well, for the clinical engineering, I actually designed and built it. Now, this might be hard for you to believe, but I can read. I used to be able to read 2,400 words a minute at 90% recall. At a near photographic memory, it would only take me about 3 seconds to come up with an idea, just like the cradle snatcher tow truck, and the hook lift, and the bicycle lift, and all kinds of other stuff, including stuff for quads and paraplegics. I made things for the blind, for all different types of aids, for the Cleveland Institute of the Blind, and all kinds of other things. I built all kinds of very interesting things, but if it takes me more than 3 seconds to figure it out, there's usually something wrong with me. And after designing these things, I could build a prototype straight from my head without having to draw anything down, which saved a tremendous amount of time. I just gathered the materials that I would need. Doesn't matter, stainless steel, regular steel, aluminum, plastics, rubber, all kinds of things, and I would put the thing together. I would drill it and screw it together the way it should work. And here we have clinical engineering. Now there's some stuff here. This was me back then when I was 33 years old, and that's Ed Prentke, the guy I worked for at Metro Health Medical Center, doing all kinds of stuff for quads and paraplegics. This is a device I designed and built the prototype for, that could measure the amount of stress that somebody had on their hands, on their fingers, on their forearms. I used to remember all of the different ways that your body moves. There are actual titles for them, but I forgot now what they are. My photographic memory is starting to fail. I called it the Prentke-Bubik arm, even though it was really my arm that I figured this thing out. That's what I looked like back then. And I made this gurney adapter as well. The problem with quads, for example, you have to they develop all kinds of sores on their back and on their rear ends because they're sitting for long periods of time in a wheelchair. And they normally have to come out of the wheelchair and lay on a gurney face down so that these can heal. And then when they've healed, they turn around on their back and then they're upside down. So it's very difficult for them to eat. So I made this gurney adapter, which is down here. And one of their complaints were that when the nurse put the tray underneath the gurney, where they're laying face down, they eat their meal, but then they can't read a book or something because the tray is in the way and they don't know what to do with it. So what I did is I made this turntable that you could turn so that the tray would go underneath the gurney, and then they could put a book down or a drink or whatever, and they could continue, moving on with their lives. When I first created this prototype, it took me about, about 3 hours, 3.5 hours to make it, maybe 4. And then I brought it straight back to the guy that I told him I'm going to do it right now, and he said nobody can do it right now, and I said I'm not like anybody else. And I made it, and I brought it back, and I put it underneath his gurney, and we tried it. All the nurses loved it. They loved me. I was very lucky. And the occupational therapists loved me as well, and all kinds of people in the hospital knew who I was because of all these things that I built for people. And Ed Prentke thought I was amazing. We went out sailing together in his boat all the time, and he was a really interesting man. I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to work together with him. And so that was, and then I created a machine that I didn't realize. I just created it and I designed it for them, that about 30 people can actually use the machine at the same time to improve their finger strength, to improve their forearm strength, back arm, their neck, the turning of their neck, their legs, their toes, everything. It would measure the amount of stress that the body could take, how much they could turn with their fingers and things like that. There were screws in there and stuff like that, but there were measuring devices on these things that allowed them to do that. I was very lucky that I could use my creativity and my engineering ability all together as one. I really enjoyed it a lot. I think that's everything that I created for the medical for the hospital as an occupational therapist.